Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the part of the event where we are going to witness a powerful discussion.
The power discussion is titled Rebooting Tourism in Nepal, Nepal's Prospects for Tourism.
I'd just like to quickly introduce Dr. Regmi once. Dr. Dhananjay Regmi is the CEO of Nepal Tourism Board. Let me tell you what I personally feel about my interaction with this man. I had a meeting with Dr. Regmi a few days ago, and I was extremely impressed to find two things about him. Number one, he is very emotional about his country. You say the word Nepal to him, and you'll see him change. You'll see that he feels so strongly about his country. And number two, he's extremely passionate about tourism in Nepal. And every time you give him an idea, he's going to have a smile on his face and he'll say, yes, that's good. Let's try it. And I think that is perhaps the one thing that we need from a person of his stature, for somebody who's going to take tourism ahead in our country. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much. It's my great honor to have you here with me today. Thank you. Sir, I have a few questions for you. And really, these questions are because the entire country is looking up to you as the one person who can help us to take tourism to where it needs to be. So my first question is, most people think that Kathmandu, Pokhara, Chitwan, and the mountains is what Nepal is. This is the common perception in the world outside. But if everyone has to benefit, maybe we need to decentralize tourism. Maybe the benefits of tourism should go further. How exactly do you think the NTB is going to be working to happen that?
Thank you, Mansiji. It's really a very difficult question. Actually, what you are asking is it's a completely a policy level question, and Nepal Tourism Board is established especially to promote Nepal worldwide. So since I came as a CEO, joined as a CEO, COVID started, and I think I'm a lucky one who, for the first time in the history of an issue, that I really go through all the policies that Nepal have taken so far for the development of the tourism. I realized that the policy that we have developed, or the Panchavarshi Yojana, or the 5-year planning, or whatever the strategic planning that came in between, so there were many plannings that came, and they all have different goals. There is always a goal saying that the decentralization of the tourism product, equal distribution of benefit, and so on, but it never happened, because just writing it in a paper is not enough. Actually, we need to make a policies, or need to take actions to fulfill that, to achieve that goals, which we have never did. So after I came, because I worked on it little bit, as soon as I joined, the budget came. Because of the pandemic, I also had a lot of time, so I said that this time I'm going to participate in the all budget making process, and I was there, and the people come up with different, like the Nepal Airlines is coming with their own ideas, Department of Tourism they have their own, and we Tourism Board have our own budget actually, which mostly focus on the promotion. But when I was looking at all this budget, the people are coming with the papers like 14, 15 pages of the programs, what they are going to do in coming 1 year. They are going to spend this much amount of money and this and that. Then I say, so, okay, we will spend on this, but where we are going to take our country to? What's our goal? What we want to achieve by spending this much money on this or that particular things? Most of the things are like the Gumbama painting, like the making some foot trails, even the 20 crore rupees was allocated just to make the Great Himalayan Trails. Then I said, well, I spent 20 years in the mountains. I was walking all over the Himalayas. I never see any, that we need to build any Padmarga or some foot trails on the mountains, because those are the big glaciated valley. You can walk anywhere, and sometimes there is a snow, and the route what you make today, because of the snow melt and the heaving process, like freezing and thawing process, that completely are muddy, and you have to take another route next day. So I was expecting that we will make a plan, something like focusing on how many bridges we need, how long bridges, or on the how many porter shelters we need, so that we can complete some trekking trails, or we can connect the east to west Nepal. So I come up with the idea. Then I said no. Then the ministry said okay, because I criticized somehow. I didn't criticize actually. I advised them that this is not the way. I think we need to be really serious because each and every penny that we are going to spend, that is the money that we have collected as a tax from the Nepalese people, and we need to be responsible, and all of us should be equally responsible, and whatever we spend, we first should be satisfied ourselves that the money that we decided to spend for particular work is really good for nation. Sorry, I think I'm taking more time, but I'm going to sort it. Then what I said, okay, then they said, okay, you come up with your ideas. And they gave me 3 days. In 3 days, I have to make an all year-round budget for the whole tourism sector. And it was a big challenge to me that I feel like, why I put myself in this, because now they are expecting everything from me. But I accept the challenge. I went back to our team. I call all my 63 NTV staffs, and I say, see guys, I take this responsibility. Now I need your support. For 3 days, 3 nights, I don't bother what you are doing. Either you sleep or not. I need these results. So I gave them idea. Okay, high mountains. We have mountains. People who are coming for the climbing, we don't have to spend any money for them. For the trekking trails, wherever we need some shelters, but most of our people, they never been to mountain. I said, I will decide where we need what sort of trails and what sort of improvement we needed and how much budget. So that is what I took the responsibility. And then I said that let's make a package. Like if the people from the Jhapa has to travel somewhere in the Kanchenjunga base camp area, how he go and what sort of packages we can develop, or how we can connect the Dharan to the Jhapa, like just by making a kind of a circle trail or some cultural trail or something. So this is how I divided the work, and I said that we need to develop until and unless we will not spend more money on the mid-hills where we have a more cultural diversity and ethnic diversity, we cannot achieve the target of developing Nepal, one, and allocating the equal benefits to the people of the hills as well. So then I say that, and by doing so, we can also change the Nepal from a seasonal destination to a year-round destination. That was another logic. I allocated some job, and I said that we need to find the 7 best places where we can develop which we can develop as a hill stations. And in the third, we said that in the Tarai we will focus mostly on the water parks or the casinos, or wherever we have a national park. So obviously national park activities can be promoted, and beside that we can think about linking the religious sites. Like Lumbini is there, but people who come for the Lumbini, we have a complaint that people coming from India, they are going back on the same day. Then I said, we need to link Lumbini with the 2 national parks, Bardia and the Chitwan, and to the hill station in the Srinagar or in the Arghakhanchi, so that we can lengthen their stay in Nepal. So this is how we come in the 3 days. We worked hard, and we come up with the new vision, and we put that in front of the government. And well, they didn't accept it as it was presented. Again, there were so many bureaucratic and the political interest, but somehow we succeed to make a clear target what we have to achieve in coming 5-7 years. And though I will not be there, but at least, but the problem was, now I am the only one evident, or my tourism board people are the one, because my minister changed, our secretary changed, most of the people got transferred from there, and now the institutional, in the name of the institutional memory, what hard work we have done last year during the budget, only I am there. So this morning when I welcome our new minister, then I said that the biggest problem is going to be what we have done in the last 9 months. We need to now, teach again the same thing to the new team, and I'm not sure that if this new team is going to accept it or not. So the problem is in the policy level and fixing the target. That is the biggest challenge and the biggest problem. So I think your answer is there. So first we need to focus on the targets, and whatever the pathway we decide once, it should be followed by the upcoming people of after me, whoever the CEO will come, whatever the target. Let's discuss for a 5 months, 6 months, no problem, to set the targets, to find the pathway, to find the right way. And once we set those things, and it should be applied to everyone who is going to run that or this institution, so that we can achieve the goal.
Great, great. It's really impressive that you managed to do this feat in 3 days, because it's a huge task to understand the tourism of an entire country, and I'm so happy about that. So my next question is, how can we democratize tourism, in the sense that right now we see that in terms of tourism or any industry internationally, not just in Nepal, we see that the rich are getting richer. The people who are in power are the ones in power, while there is a huge disparity. So how can we democratize it? How can we ensure that the benefits of tourism and the benefits of our heritage, our national heritage, our architecture comes down to the lowest rung of society? Is it going to be just the trickle down method, or is there something else that we could do?
I think just 2-3 months back, I did I traveled from Western Nepal to Eastern Nepal for 18 days, and I met with the number of people, number of entrepreneurs, because the industry is passing through the toughest time, and I just went there just to give them some sort of relief that at least the CEO came and he talked to us and he tried to understand our problems. So during that visit, I realized that, let me give an example of a Thakurdwara. There are now more than 70 hotels, including some homestays, and then there is only one travel agent who is selling Thakurdwara. So only few people, like if you are living in Kathmandu and you easily can give 4-place tour, as you said, Kathmandu, Pokhara, Chitwan, Lumbini, then why you bother about sending someone to the Thakurdwara or Api, Saipal or Kanchenjunga base camp, where you don't have a direct connections and where the chances of cheating or where there are so many challenges of managing the manpower, giving a good services. So no tour operators want to take those challenges. So what I realize is, if we really want to do democratize, as you said, or we want to equally distribute the benefits, then we have to promote the people in those areas. Like if I have to promote Dadeldura, then I need some promoter from Dadeldura, entrepreneur from Dadeldura. So the biggest challenge at this point to achieve what you said is to promote or give training to the new unemployed people who are educated, who really want to do something. Well, let's empower them. Let's give them training. Let's make them to start an tourism, some small enterprise. Nepal is the country where with the only, like, if you don't have money, even by getting a bank guarantee of 5 lakh rupees, you can start a travel agency. You just can get it registered in 40 to 60,000 rupees. It depends on who you are using. If you have time, if you can run by yourself, you can get it done in 35, 40,000 rupees. But if you are using someone else, then maybe in 60. So it is the country where you have a lot of chances. You can, with a very small amount, you can start a business. And then tourism is the only business where you first get the money and then you give a service. You don't have to spend money first. So this is a very good opportunity that Nepal have. But for that, I think this is what from the NTB, this is our job as well. So as a part of our training program, instead of giving a lot of trainings to the cook or like the refreshness training, I said that this is a time we should go in new places, check how many educated unemployed people are there, gather them, motivate them, make a group, request them to open small businesses. For example, if someone who is living at the base camp of or close to the Api base, Api mountain, if there is a group who can run all these trekking activities there, then they are really genuine. If they are not cheating, I got that assured, I think I can also make a number of packages to sell that area. Now the problem is, tour operator from here, they send people to the Api base camp. They have to hire some local people from that area, and when they are going, after working 1-2 days, they said that, okay, this much salary is not enough, you have to increase. Or in between, they leave the baggage. So there is so much, threat, even if you are doing that. So I think we need to aware the people. We need to train more people. We need to find new entrepreneurs from those areas. Doing so, I think slowly the benefits will be distributed all over Nepal. For example, like Khumbu. In 1950s, 60s, when they started, now most of the business is why it's going there, because the first people who involved in the business were from that area, and whoever started their companies, they are making, they're trying to, they're making most packages for focusing on their own areas, because they think that if the tourist goes there, first thing is the Everest is there, that's fine. Besides that also, they can go to their home, it's the area that is known, the chances of cheating are less. So I think these are the benefits that they have. So similarly, if we can encourage more entrepreneurs in those different parts of the Nepal, and if they start to give the services, then they think about to solve the problems. They will find, they can come up with the new port numbering system, or like some marking system, or some authorized porter supply system. So Once it all established, then I think the benefits will start to go in different part. One is that. Another is the government need to focus also on we are spending. It does not mean that just spend finish, but we have to be really clear on why we are spending where, which is the biggest problem now. So far, we are not taking any like the taxes from the people who are selling mostly these Mansarovar. People are coming from the India to Nepalganj and they are flying up and they are going, and some people are getting sick. Nobody is taking care. How much? Because government is also not focusing. People are also not paying that much taxes, and it's now it's not running smoothly. Whereas that is the that Mansarovar area, the Indian tourists who are coming, they are mostly coming for the religious reason. When they are the people who are going to be the ambassador, as you said, mouth-to-mouth promotion for. And when they don't, if somebody gets sick, there is no even the rest house, so no even a rescue center. So the government is spending a lot of money, but government don't know about these all problems. And the private sector, they don't care about focusing on those things and improving those facilities. So first of all, the who are in the position, who are in the policy level, they need to understand that. They need to come up with the infrastructure, because it's a place like once you cross the border, China side, everything quite nice. In Nepal side, it's like a pity. So we need to improve those things. So there is a lack of knowledge, lack of in the policy also we have a lot of problems. And at the same time, we need to decentralize the awareness system, and we need to encourage the more new entrepreneurs. Doing so only we can achieve what you are saying.
Right, sir. So is NTB working with new entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs in this field?
Yeah, well, yes, actually, before I came also, we were focusing on the students in the Kathmandu Valley. But I say now it's not a time that again we collect some students from the Kathmandu Valley, some management students, and give a training to them. That's not true. I think to achieve this decentralization, or what you said, the democratize the tourism sector, that we need to go and give a training in the different districts, right. So that we find the entrepreneurs from there. Once we will have the entrepreneurs from there, they will promote that area, and slowly it will. But we need a kind of certainly the government need to come up with some like a company free company opening services, or we also as a NTB we also need to go with number of trainings that help them to establish their business. This is what, and we certainly have already allocated some budget, but because of the COVID we could not achieve what we targeted, but well, we are doing.
I know that how passionate you are about not just the mountains, also the mid-hills. What are some of the plans and what are some of the things we can hope to see in the mid-hills in the next 5-7 years maybe?
As I said, when I was working in the mountains, I always like the mountains. Okay, that's fine. But always, have you ever seen the childs? So if you see, I don't know how many of you are doing trekking. If you are doing trekking, if you see a child for the 8, 9, 10-year-old, then you feel like, oh, this child came here. Okay, one. Another. If you see someone who are above 60, if they are doing 60, 70s, if they are trekking, wow, they are doing at this age. So what we were sharing so far is mostly the mountains, no, high mountains and the trekkings, climbing or trekking. And Nepal, where in my own experience, wherever I go, when I say that I am Nepali, they always ask me, oh, have you been to Everest? So this is the common question that I think most of you, me, we all are facing. So our image is mountain image. Before she said mountain and small. Small I don't say, but yes, we have an image of mountains. Then whom we are welcoming, we are talking about the length of stay in Nepal is less, we are spending less money, and we are talking about people are spending less money, number of days, and these are the problems. But see, whom we are selling Nepal, only the age group between, only for the working people, like from 20 to 55, 60-year-old people, because only Nepal means mountain. Mountain means only for the fit people who are young, they are going. And so just check. That is the age group who have the number of EMIs they have to pay every month. They have very less holidays because they have to work hard to make their earnings to keep their to feed their families. And when the people get retired, who have a lot of money to spend, who don't have to pay any EMIs, which already were paid, and for those people, Nepal is not for them. And like you are a high school student, you passed out, your parents promised you to give a $5,000 when you score good. And Nepal, and there is a number of countries when the child talk to them, I'm going Nepal. They say, no, don't go Nepal. It's mountainous. You choose Thailand or you go somewhere else. So we make our image completely different. Nepal is completely different. So I think this is a time we should not focus on mountain or mountain trekking. We never focused on the mid hills, which is the major assets of Nepal. In 15 to 20 minute walking distance, from one rice house, you can be in a Brahmin's house, completely different food, different culture, different, even the agriculture tools are different. So much diversity is there. And in the mid hills, from 1,000 to 2,000 meter, it is the area where even during the winter, there is no fog, there is no mist, there is no cold. Because from morning 6 o'clock until the evening, you can have the sunlight. So people who love the sun during the winter season, for them also, Tarai, it's all covered by the fogs. High mountains, it's really cold because of the altitude. But in between 1,000 meter to 2,000 meter, this altitude, beside the Kathmandu Valley, because it's in a ball shape. Otherwise, all are really sunny from morning to evening, and that's why we call in the Pahar Seknu. Pahar Seknu is a Gham Seknu. So so we never try to sell that out. All the European people, when they are looking for the place where they can go and have a sunlight, because it's all either snowing or it's cloudy, and whole the India, the 30 crore population of the northern India, when they are under this Tusharo, they are looking for some places to go. And most of the people are going where? To the sea, like Thailand or in any sea beach areas. But we never focus, we never try to sell that Nepal has all those facilities what you are looking for. So I think this is a time that we need to focus on our cultural diversity, our ethnic diversity, and all the diversity that we have in the mid hills or in the Tarai. Instead of Tarai, let's say Tarai have to be developed in a different way. If we start to focus at a time on many things, maybe that is not that successful. So I think during my tenure, I am trying to focus mostly on the mid hills so that we can change the Nepal's image from seasonal destination to a year-round destination.
Great. I'm really glad to hear that, because personally, I was telling my mother that she's coming to Nepal next week. And I told her, I'll take you for a hike. She's like, nahi, dar lagta hai. But I said, don't worry, I'll take you. You won't have to climb up. You'll just be walking and it's going to be comfortable. And she's now okay with it. So I think that we need to encourage more and more people to understand that even my mother, who's 57, 58 years, can do this. So thank you so much for that. My next question to you, sir, is we are now in the area of digitalization and digitization of everything. How is the NTB looking at having a footprint online as well? I do understand that NTB is active on social media, but is there something else that we can expect in the next few years maybe?
Well, again, so at the time of this COVID, obviously when we cannot physically present in every places, in every countries, then the value of the digital or the digitization or digital marketing is increasing. So, Nepal Tourism Board is really engaged on this, but we were mostly focusing on the physical travel marts. We used to arrange more than 100 travel mart all over the world. Out of them, 40% were in India, otherwise the rest in the different part of the world. So, we were very good on that, but after the pandemic started, and since I came, I never visited any country, because since I came, I was asked to go to the India, but there was also like 50,000 people were gathering, and somebody suggested me that it's not a good idea, and it was my first week of joining, and I have to learn a lot of things about the NTB, and then I decided to send someone else. So I never had this opportunity, so I really don't know how we used to do, how effective that was, but I'm sure that this digital promotion is going to be more effective than the physical presence. And as you said, sometimes things come in my mind, like Nepal. We used to have a Gold Coast, maybe many of you have heard, and the chain business. When tie up with the money that one people, if you pay 25,000, then you can make more members with the 25,000, and after some days you ultimately start to get the benefits. I don't say that we need to make a kind of that sort of some, again, the chain which is government has said that it's illegal. What I want to say is that the same way, we need to make a fan club or the Nepal lovers club or the friends of Nepal club. If I visit Nepal, then once I go back, I tell like a Jai Ho film, like if you do something good, you tell 2-3 of your friends to do the same good things to rest of the people. If we can make something like that sort of club which can promote, that is what the Nepal need at this time, I think, because so what I always said that from NTB, I'm really ready to invite 1,000 people and want to really show them. I don't want invite them in Kathmandu. I want to take them to different part of Nepal. Most of if the journalists, bloggers, if they want to come, if you have a good bloggers, if you know, just suggest us. I want to invite them. I want to show the real Nepal. I will not take them to the high mountains. I will not take them for the trekking trails. But I will take them in the mid hills, or I will try to show them what we have in reality, which is good for everyone, for any age group. This is what. And then recently we started a WeChat for the China, because we were doing many these travel mart there, but that was not that effective. So now the WeChat is very popular there, and now we are promoting the WeChat in there. And then similarly, whatever the social medias are available, we are using them. So when I met the Mansisis here, so on my first visit, when she talked about the Nepal, she make me cry. I'm really an emotional guy, and as she said that when someone talk about the Nepal, and when I see that what we are doing and where we are lacking, and when she, from being Bengali, when she was giving so much, when she said that this, why you should not visit Nepal 7 days, and when I heard her, then tears comes in my eyes, and then I offer her, why don't you join NTV from tomorrow? We need you, actually. This is and the storytelling is another thing that we really need to focus on, which we never had. Now I come up with for this promotion, I come up with the new idea. I say that instead of having an environment club, Nepal is really good in the environment. Kathmandu Valley's environment is what we have polluted. Otherwise, in rest part of the Nepal, we are really good in terms of the environment. So I said that instead of just only environment clubs in the school, why shouldn't we start ecotourism clubs, so that we can start to teach the child from the childhood that what is good for the tourism promotion, what is bad, what sort of activities we should promote, how we should treat with the foreigners or anyone, we mostly do a misbehave with the Indian tourists, how we can change that. So if I spend, I'm saying here, I spent 7 years in Japan and some time in the US, but when I was there, I used to throw all the garbage separately. But after coming here, after 1 to 3 months, I used to put garbage in my pocket, and slowly when I see that people are throwing, and automatically it's, I again changed as I used to be. So I could not change myself even after 7. It happened because I was not grown up in that way in my childhood. I was not taught in that way during my forcefully, because of the laws or feeling shame, I did that. But this is what happened in the human nature. So we need to teach our child from the childhood about, so eco-tourism club is the one thing that we can do. About the digitization in the social media is one part, but we need a digitization from the airport, which we have. And now the agencies. First of all, what I think, we need one think tank in the top who will decide what to make, how, and how to promote what thing where. But that is what we are lacking. So airport have a CAN who take care of that. They are making their own digital system. NTB, we have some of the works that we have to do, and now we have digitized it, like getting a Thames permit, and then going in the mountains. Now we try to change it to before we have a manual system, now the digitized system that we are coming up with. But I really want it to be an interlink. Whoever is coming, when they show the passport, their passport copy, with that all information should goes everywhere. If they check in the hotel, that information should be stored somewhere. If they get a permit from us, that also goes there. And we are now working on with the this Prabhu Bank, they come up with some ideas. It's now on the ideas. We are trying to develop a kind of a system, digital system. Whoever enters, they will get one card. They can make all the payments with that card. And now even whichever hotel they are staying at, that information comes to the government. If government wants, they can access any time. There are still problems, like some people don't like this. But I think for the betterment, to keep everything under the system, we need a more digital world in Nepal. We need to more digitally efficient. And which is what now the government, as somebody was giving up before presentation, in 3 years, there's a lot of things are going to be happen in the IT world in Nepal. So which I really agree, because whatever is going on, whatever the discussions are going on, I think very soon we are going to get a very good solutions. But Mansi, I think your question was focused on how the tourism and the digitized world. So I think so far Nepal was doing mostly some videos. First long videos, and then nowadays 1, 2, 3 minute clips, and just sharing. And the problem is, if NTB is a national tourism organization, it belongs to everyone. So even my NTB staff, they first post in there, and they don't want to share what is posted in the NTB website. So we ourselves, we have a lot of weaknesses. If we promote, if we put some post like one small video about what Mansi have prepared, if I share it from the NTB, if all the stakeholders do share in them, share within their own social media channel, then obviously it's going to get a lot of mileage. But people are not doing that. So we really need to unite together, work together. For that, we need to make like associations or clubs, and really need to think that if I share, maybe one more additional tourist will come to Nepal, because all of us have 5, 6, 10, or it depends on with the people, but we have a foreign friend who might get inspired. Just like Mansi used to make a number of videos, but one video got viral. 5 million people, saw that, and 20,000 people shared it. 500 people shared it, which is a very good thing. If we jointly determine, said that we will promote it, if we combine together, work together, I think we can achieve what the digital world can achieve. Well, sometimes it's this. Another is like you are talking about the stories. So far, no Japanese come to me saying that come to Japan. No Swiss people come to me saying that please visit Nepal, and I've never seen that anybody have any stall in Nepal promoting their countries. But because from our childhood, in our every book, our leaders, either they in a political space, they always talk about Japan, Switzerland, Singapore, and it's set in our mind as it is a destination that one should visit in their lifetime. So similarly, being Nepali, if we keep doing the same, that you start to write, whenever we write, okay, Nepal is the place for the diversity, where you are talking about the bird. Obviously, we have we are really rich on that. So if we start to write, make it more visible through the writings, from the storytellings, I think Nepal is going to be very, very popular in the future. And digitally, yes, we are trying. And if you guys have some more suggestions that NTV can follow or NTV can adopt, then we are really happy to accept your knowledge or do work on that as per your suggestions.
Great, absolutely. I love the fact that he spoke about the soft power and how Switzerland never tells us to visit, yet people are going up and queuing for a Schengen visa to go to Switzerland. So I totally get that. Now we're done with the formal question answer session. If you have any questions for Sir, you would have a slot in the app somewhere to put your questions, and they'll come to me and we can ask Sir. If you have any questions at all. Who, Sir?
So why don't you start from Mansi? Mansi is the best person. I think you can Nepal fan club like it's video viral भयो. मैले आजैबाट म सुरु गर्छु नेपाल fan club भनेर सुरुवात गर्दिनु माछा भन्नुस् न.
धन्यवाद. No. Well, मैले त मान्छेजीबाट what I really want, I already requested her for that, and we already started the Friends of Nepal bhanera hashtag, which we did it with the IFC. Now some of the tourism entrepreneurs of Nepal are already there, and we have more than 25,000 people already joined that. So friends, we already started that, but obviously I want Mansi to motivate all the school students, so I really want her to join NTB and start, with other activities. If she can come up with and promote this ecotourism club concept, which can spread a message at a time to the whole Nepal, and we can use these schools organization like what they called Pepson, ePepson. So so we can use them, and I think this is a good idea that at a time you can give a message, and it will not change immediately tomorrow. But if we start from the school, then every year 80,000 students are going abroad from Nepal. And Nepal is the one country which is giving the cheapest education. I don't say about the boardings. And most of the people who are going abroad and who are not coming back, they are mostly the students who are from the village areas. From the city areas, who got education here in the boardings, they are now, because who belongs to the business families, they are coming back. They stay like 5, 7, 10 years, and then they said, oh, let's go to Nepal. They are coming back. But when the people are going, at the time, if we put that the Nepal has a lot of potentiality, you are going, but you have to come back, you have to promote Nepal when you are outside. Okay, I will do, but I don't know about Nepal. But if we start eco clubs from now, they know about Nepal, and then they can promote whenever they will have a chance. Like one student have I think more than 50 times in their master's or PhD time, if somebody is doing a study, then they have more than 50 chances where they can address more than 100 peoples. So, in every opportunity, if they little bit talk about Nepal, they can start their presentation with a small story. This happened in Nepal. The Mount Everest height is increased by 0.86 meters. That alone is going to give a big message. So sometimes, so we need to motivate from the childhood, from the schools. I think the Mansi is going to be very good. Obviously, in the Nepal friends, also you can, but see, I don't know why, if she join or not, but we, all NTB family is looking forward to include her as a part of our family.
Okay, on that note, sir, there's a question from me. So we see a lot of entrepreneurs here. What exactly, 3 simple words maybe, that you expect from them to support you and NTB?
Well, first, please, because if they are the tourism entrepreneur, please don't confuse the government, first thing. What I found is, we really think, we deeply analyze, and we come up with, say, okay, let's do this. I convince the minister, everything saying that do this. And the minister, when convinced, then from the industry, people goes and they confused. Because in Nepal, everybody has access to the prime minister, everybody, most of the entrepreneurs have access to the minister, to the secretary. When I'm working for the industry as an NTB CEO, then please, first discuss with us, because we are also doing something. But instead of discussing, when we say that this is good for the nation, when we have convinced everyone, then ultimately it goes and people confused. For example, government announces the 50 Arab and 1 Kharab and 50 Arab funds for the industry. But because we go with one, saying that this should be the procedure, and the industry goes with the number of other procedures, which benefit their small part of a tourism industry, like for the hotels, or for the trekkings, or for the travels. And that all confuses, and it never happened. So this is the situation. So first I say, please make one voice of the industry, which we are losing. Second, please pay taxes. Because what I found now, people say that what is this NTBCU always says about the taxes. It's not my duty. But what I found, when I have to bargain with the government, saying that you Pugena, give this facility, give that facility, they say what they are doing, what they are paying. Trust me, we have more than 8,000 enterprises. Out of them, like almost 50% are only paying the taxes, others are not paying. They are not in the channel. I mean, many of them, they are doing the tourism business, they don't have a dollar accounts. They are getting the cash in hand, they are running, they are not paying the TDS of any workers. And now when the industry is in problem, when we have to show the data, then only 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 tourist workers are only registered in the social security funds, or they were paid through the bank. So whatever the system, I don't say we have the best system, whatever the system we have, please tie up yourself with that system, so that when there is a problem, we can ask the government or we can force the government to listen to us. This is the second biggest problem that I saw. Third, as Mansi said in the first question, only 4 places are not Nepal. We really need to think about the diversification of the products, and the problem is we have many agencies that are looking on the tourism, whereas they are interconnected. If you want to promote some area, like the Lumbini airport is coming, that's good. Then Nepal Airlines, where to fly, where to bring they should be a part of the decision-making process. NTB, what needed to be promoted there, we should also be the one who should be there in the decision-making team. And the government also, when they are making a policy or allocating budget, they should be also there listening to us and allocate the budget. But here, all the agencies are working very separately. So this is the third thing that we need to do: unite together, make a centralized policy so that the benefits can be achieved or the target can be achieved earlier. If we go in the way that we are going now, achieving any target is really difficult in Nepal. So this is the only 3 things that I think we need to.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that answer. Now I'm just going to ask you a question that was asked through the app. This has been asked by Brijendra Joshi, and the question is, while promotion in digitized world is there, how down the number of quarantine and look at increase the per day spending, where almost 85% of the tourists are spending below USD 50. So how can we increase the per day expenditure of tourists is what the question really is.
So again, the problem is, so how many, like I'm a tourist, I'm here in Nepal. This per day expenditure is calculated based on the amount that the Rashtra Bank receive when the foreigners are sending through the banking channel. But again, the same thing. How many? Just say we are saying the $44 number of tourist arrival is okay because we count it at the airport that how many tourists arrive by the airlines. But the money, it is what calculated only that come through the legal channels. Right. From the illegal channel also there is a lot of money. That's why I'm saying that we need to follow the system. We need to bring, if some foreigners came and if he said that take me to a base camp and if he give you $3,000, why you go and put that in the bank saying that this is the $3,000 I received from the. Now, once you receive cash, what you do? You pay cash directly to you never pay the TDS, you never pay the 13% VAT. Now you make 42% more money than the rest of the other people. Right. So it is simple. You don't have to pay the 25% income tax, 13% VAT, and other TDS. So you make more money, and then this money you cannot put on the bank. So So there is a lot of that sort of money is there. Another, because of this Booking.com, Pagoda, Agoda, all these. Now the most of the money you can receive in any country. Like I have a hostel, people are booking. Then when the Booking.com has to pay me, I can just say, okay, I have an account in the Singapore, please deposit there. That money is never going to show up in the Nepalese account. So the challenge is the same WeChat payment again has the problem. So there is so many things that the government, like the tax offices have to be, focus on. But until and unless we are not going to be disciplined or we are not going to, faithful to our country, it's very difficult to change. But we need to, that's why I say that we need to follow the government system, whatever, either it is good or bad. So this 44 and another is Indian tourists, we never calculated there. Indian tourists coming with the lakh of rupees and it is not there. So the data that we have, I did one research data, and for this also we have already started a satellite accounting system. So ask me this question after 2 years. I think I will give you the better answer of this. Instead of 45, I think now it's more. And the average day and GDP contribution, you didn't talk about that. It's officially it is only 2.4, but I think it is more than 10% if we really bring everything on the legal channel.